What's up, my metaverse monkeys? Welcome back to On-Chain Gaming. Today is a super sweet video because we are joined by none other than Jason Bitbender Brink, who is the president of blockchain at Gala Games, my favorite Web3 gaming company. So thanks so much for joining, Jason.
Thanks, man. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Making
So
sure that I don't keep turning yellow. Why does my camera keep doing that?
it
Hold
just,
on. Hold
anytime
on.
you turn yellow, you just have to break into the Trump
I I
voice and
I
then
do. I don't know what you're talking about, Jake.
it'll
I don't
all
know.
be good.
None of that makes any sense.
So
Maybe
yeah,
people say that I'm the best yellow person.
we gathered a bunch of questions from Twitter. We asked you, what would you like to hear from Trump about Web3 gaming? And
It's the best. Web3 gaming is the best. It's the best type of gaming. It's far better than Web2 gaming or Web1 gaming. I
exactly,
think
I
that
agree. You're so brilliant, President. All right. So the first question, I think, just to help like bring everyone into this, because hopefully some people will watch this that aren't like super into Web3 gaming yet.
oh, I
Maybe they're
certainly
just
hope so.
Web3 curious. So as a gamer, why should I care about Web3? How does that make my life as a gamer better, Jason?
Sure. So the first thing as a gamer, I think the important level set here that we have to make is that all of us are gamers too.
Hmm.
And all of us remember back in the day, like when you'd go to school and you'd have your backpack, and in your backpack you would have a cartridge or, you know, a disc or something, and you'd give that to your friend. You'd trade it to your friend so that they could take the game home and play it as well.
Hmm.
And then if your friends were complete and total terrible people, they would lose the little plastic cover that went over the end of the cartridge, and it would come back with like Cheez-Its in it or something terrible like that. But the thing is all of us are gamers too. Okay, and we got into this because we recognize that it is something that presents an amazing opportunity for gamers, for game developers, and for the game industry as a whole.
Hmm.
So I could deal with each of those in turn, but since you asked specifically about why a gamer should care,
Hmm.
a gamer should care because Web3 gaming is the only thing that actually gives you control over your assets in a game. Now, that's a nice sounding talking point, right? But what does it really mean? Okay. Think of the last serious Web2 game that you played. Okay. For me, I play Battlefield 5. My brother and I get on and we play on a fairly regular basis.
Hmm.
And I have purchased quite a few skins and tanks and all of these things. And
I
you
am
know
also guilty.
yeah, no, everyone is, because you look at it and you're like, "Oh, why doesn't my tank have a flag on it? Like
Uh-huh.
i
That would
i
be
need
sick. I would
that.
obviously kill more people if I had that.
Clearly it is a significant bonus, and so you spend money on that. Okay, you dump a bunch of company coin into to buying a skin,
Hmm.
and then a few months later, another game comes out, which incidentally is not Battlefield 1940 or 2042, because everyone's still playing Battlefield 5 because nobody plays 2042. Whatever, shots fired. Um, the another game comes out, and you move to that other game, and everything that you have spent and bought in the first game
Hmm.
is now abandoned. It just
Hmm.
sits there as database items until the company that is working on that game decides that it's no longer worthwhile for them to maintain the servers.
Hmm.
And so they sunset the game, and
Yeah. And to make it
it's
worse,
gone.
before they sunset it, it's against TOS to transfer your account to someone else. So
Right.
even if there was someone who was like, "Oh
Correct.
wow, you have so many cool skins. Like I love this game." You literally cannot even give them the account, let alone
Yes.
sell it to them. So
Yes.
it's
Exactly.
just sad.
And so for us, that's the thing that's the really big differentiating factor, is that it gives you actual control over your game experience, your items that you own in game.
Hmm.
Now, you can go way deeper than this and dig into all of the little bits and pieces about how you can earn things in games, how you could go find something that you found in a game, and now you get to actually keep and trade or something with
Hmm.
another friend. We could go into that, but ultimately it all boils down to control of assets and
Hmm.
ownership of
Yeah.
your gaming experience.
Okay. So let's say that you're a listener now and you're like, yeah, that sounds really cool, but Web3 gaming is just too expensive. Like, all
Mm,
of the assets I want and the games that I want are just way out of my price range.
ridiculous,
So,
ridiculously priced.
yeah, what would you say to those people?
So there's a couple pieces to the pricing of
Hmm.
various assets.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
understand here.
The idea here, okay, and this is something that we at Gala have taken a bit of heat for over the years. Um, originally when we started selling items, they were relatively inexpensive.
Hmm.
But then the price of Ethereum went completely bonkers,
Hmm.
and suddenly you'd buy a $20, item, and you would have a $70 gas fee
Hmm.
to get it into your wallet. Now, obviously, that's massively suboptimal.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there was a something of a process of innovation where you look at that and you say, okay, well, that's clearly not that's clearly not what anyone wants,
Hmm.
right? And while there's options like switching to L2s and things like that that might help a little bit, they're not really aligned with the long-term goals. And so you go through this business process innovation where you start saying, okay, well, in order to make this worth it for people, is that iced coffee or chocolate milk? One
It
must
is.
know.
It's iced coffee. It does have some
Okay.
milk in it though.
Okay. It looked almost like chocolate milk. I was getting ready to be a little bit jealous. um
Both
so
are good.
you go through this innovation process whereby you say, okay, well, in order to make the gas worthwhile, the objects need to be worth more.
Hmm.
Okay, and then you ask, okay, well, if the objects are worth more, they should have additional utility,
Hmm.
right? Like, you shouldn't just randomly charge 10x for something if
Hmm.
it's not going to do more stuff.
Yeah.
So then we
Or
start
be
looking
more
into
rare,
things.
like just more
Exactly.
unique.
Exactly. And that's obviously part of it, but when you look at things like a spider tank,
Hmm.
right? Okay, so now you could sell uh, a spider tank body for a relatively low price,
Yeah.
or you can sell it for a somewhat higher price and give it the ability to be leased out to other players.
Hmm.
Give it the ability to be configured and upgraded, and have all of these different utilities and functionalities that the sort of vanilla one would not have.
Yeah.
And so that was that process, and then we found as we added more and more stuff, that there was a bigger appetite from the community, and we were having we had one drop, for example, um, where the entire drop sold out in like 20 seconds.
Hmm.
Okay, now if the entire drop sells out in 20 seconds, that's very much a double-edged sword.
Hmm.
Okay, because on one hand, yay, the drop sold out, everyone
Hmm.
likes it,
Hmm.
yay. On the other hand, there's a ton of people that wanted to get into it
Yeah.
that couldn't.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, and so what we wanted to do is we wanted to find a way to spread that out more without spreading out, you know, without spreading out all of the everything else that we're bringing into this. Sorry,
Hmm.
1 second. Sorry, distracted there for a moment.
You're good.
Um, and so that's sort of where we started going with all of this
Hmm.
in terms of pricing and things like that.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question, though, my God, I'm sorry that was long-winded,
No,
was
it's
is
important. We have to understand like the
we do.
reasoning behind this. Yeah, it's valuable.
Yeah. So basically what we see is that if we create an ecosystem where there is more value for things,
Hmm.
as well as pathways for people who do not want to buy in to play,
Hmm.
that's what's better for everybody.
Yeah.
Because then you have play to earn ecosystems where people are buying things and managing tanks and whatnot, while other players are just joining in and they start to play.
Hmm.
For us, that's super important.
Yeah. Okay, so can I just like say thoughts that popped into my head during this
Of course,
explanation.
I'm gonna kill Slack because it keeps giving me notifications and is very distracting.
Okay, yeah,
So
do that.
go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to like add some credibility to what you were saying as someone who's been participating in the Gala ecosystem for a while. Like a lot of the initial Mirandus stuff, for example, was very cheap,
Yeah,
and has already 10x or 50x a lot of the like super early stuff.
yeah,
And from Gala's perspective, especially when there is such a limited supply of some of these very valuable deeds and stuff,
yeah.
it feels bad as a company to say, "Wow, we just sold this and now people are flipping it for 50x." Like
Right.
that feels bad as a company trying to make the game. You're like that's great you got that profit off this, but we got to hire developers and we actually have to build this thing. So it makes
It's
sense
expensive.
that the company that's actually creating the value for the players wants to be able to get a higher percentage of the true value that the market gives to that NFT. So I completely understand that side of it. But I have an idea maybe as the second thought that I had on a way that I've actually seen these drops done pretty well, and that's
Sure.
like the Dutch auction, where the price starts very high and there's a limited supply, but over time the price starts to reduce kind of in a curve,
Mm.
and people can choose to buy it at whatever
At
price
whatever
they
point they want.
want. And then
Yeah.
as soon as it's gone, it's gone. So there's like the give and take of like, okay, I can afford it now, but like maybe I could get it a little bit cheaper. But if you wait too long, then it's sold out. So this would
Right.
allow people who just like really want to support Gala, really care about these items, to just buy it right at the beginning, ensure they're going to be able to get it. And it would give hope to all of like the
Sure.
rest of the people out there who are just like, this is really cool, but like the starting price is out of my price range, and they can sit there and hope that it will get low enough, you know, that
Right.
they'll be able to purchase it. And then you even give kind of a fair market dynamic to the drop itself, which I
Mm.
think would make a lot of people really happy. Plus, it might make that thing of like underpricing, having everything sell out in 2 seconds, it might make that go away as well. And you guys actually
Right.
might make more off these drops.
So that is something that we have considered. Um, One of the reasons we have there's really two reasons that we haven't gone that way fully. And we have done that for limited drops,
Mm-hmm.
but not for like major things on platform. The first is that we are very hesitant to do anything that may result in a gas war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you will notice with the Gala platform is if you make a purchase on the Gala platform, your gas fees are not insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's because when you make that purchase, it's allocating that supply and it's giving you a pretty healthy window for that transaction to complete,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't have a situation where there's a gas war.
Yeah,
So that's the first thing.
I do appreciate
This,
that.
it makes a difference,
Yeah.
right? Because like you can get into something and suddenly if you have a bad gas day,
Mm-hmm.
you go to initiate that transaction, it's like $1,400 in gas
Yeah.
to buy a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
no, and I make transactions all the time, and
Yeah.
my lowest gas fees normally are on the Gala website, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
appreciated.
We try very hard. The second thing is what we want to avoid, okay, is the how do I put this? If we have a set price and people want to buy it or they don't want to buy it, it's very easy for them to decide whether this is something they want, whether it's within their means. That's it. You know, um, if we go with a Dutch auction style, okay, the challenge that you run into is that there will be somebody who buys it very high.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it begins to go lower, okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they think it's going to be super popular, and for whatever reason, it turns out it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have somebody who feels extremely salty about it
Mm-hmm.
because, they've purchased something and then the floor is much lower, and,
Yeah.
they're very grumpy about this. We don't really pay much attention to quote unquote floor prices and things like that, but we are cognizant of the fact that some people definitely do, and we don't want to create a situation where they have a bad experience
Mm-hmm.
and end up becoming somewhat toxic. So
Mhm.
that's those are a couple reasons why we haven't done that.
Yeah.
We've thought about it a lot.
Hmm. I had I do these Patreon calls with my tier one Patreon supporters once a month,
Right.
and I get a lot of great feedback from them because these are guys who are just like the most into Web3 gaming that you can be.
Mm, right.
And one of them shared a story like they participated in the Alluvium Dutch auction. Like
Hmm.
one of the lands started at 5 ETH, I think, and they ended up buying it at 2.8, and then the final
Hmm.
one sold out at like 1.5. And he's like, but I still felt like I got such a good deal on it because some people paid
Right.
5 for it. So I, I
It all depends
yeah.
on how that goes.
Yeah, I
You
think
know, I
just
mean,
being like
there.
really clear about how it works so people like understand. Like, guys, if you buy this at 5, like it could go lower before it sells out. And as long as people understand that, I don't know. I
Yeah.
definitely see the back and forth though. It's not an easy decision.
No, well, the other thing is doing that. Um, like you can't have both that and the low gas fee.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, if you have the Dutch auction, it's so time based, you end up in a gas war situation.
Yeah, unless it's
Um,
just like a couple people pulling the trigger like every minute or something because people are waiting. Like you might have less of a gas war issue than it's just like an instant drop and everyone's trying to buy at the price right when the drop happens type of a thing.
or you have a situation where you end up with a mini gas war for every
Yeah.
single thing.
We just need Gary.
We do.
Jerry Chain, George
We
Chain.
actually we do. Jerry and George.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Let's move on from this. I did appreciate the back and forth on this though. I
My
think
pleasure,
people
man.
just want to understand that you guys are like thinking about this and you guys do want the best experience for the community and it
Yeah.
is something that you guys are striving for. Okay, so what do you think right now is the biggest obstacle that's holding back NFT gaming?
Onboarding, onboarding into the Web3 space
Mm-hmm.
is a bitch, man. It's terrible. This is something we're working very directly to solve. But the reality is that if you take the average person, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, everyone listening to your show for the most part is a Web3 native, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a lot of you who are new, okay, and think back to when you set up your first wallet, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and how scared you were as you went through that process
Yeah.
and how paranoid you got about it.
It's like I can't lose
Okay.
any of these words.
Yeah,
No.
and you just really really freaking out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think of the dumb stuff that you've done,
Yeah.
okay, that you didn't know was dumb stuff when you did it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
like, oh, click here to participate in this drop. Oh, that looks cool. I'll go get the free thing. And then, you know, you click, you sign with your MetaMask, and you know,
Yeah.
someone starts at the vacuum machine on the other end, right?
Yeah.
um think of all of the times that you've either known somebody to do something like that, or done it yourself, or seen it happen. Like, this is the problem, is that blockchain for a non crypto native is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why we have to come up with ways to onboard people
Yeah.
that are smooth, have flows that introduce them to the concept but don't force them to go through it, and then give them the opportunity a little bit later on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very important, especially because Gala is going to have so many just like actually fun games that
Yes.
traditional players are going to want to play, even if they have zero interest in the blockchain
Yep.
at all.
And
I
that's
think
the point.
it's so important that people can set up an account and even start playing without ever thinking about a wallet.
Yeah.
And then once they fall in love with the game and then they realize, wait, I can earn some crypto playing this, or like I can
Yep.
turn my like guy into an NFT. And
Yep.
that is when, after they're already invested, after they're already in love with the world, it's going to be worthwhile for them to onboard. But yeah,
Right.
not
So
requiring people to beforehand, I think, is so important.
to be super clear here, I'm going to say something that sounds crazy. Okay. Are you ready for this, Jake?
Mm-hmm.
I am not a Web3 gaming maxi. I'm a gaming maxi.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Web3 as just one absolutely critical tool to make gaming better.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
And and that's what it's about. It's like, how do we create a better experience? How do we create a better game? Well,
Hmm.
this is a tool that we have not had before, and it creates a much better user experience.
Hmm.
And to be clear, everyone in this space is figuring things out as they go along.
Hmm.
Nobody in this space has it all figured out. Not us, not anyone else.
Yeah.
And it's a constant process of innovation.
Hmm.
And on the bleeding edge, we're doing our best to build amazing experiences for gamers. And there's going to be, little hiccups along the way, but ultimately that is the goal. And that's what we're working towards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I think this is definitely the way to make gaming as good as gaming can be, and that
Yes.
is what is so exciting about it. Okay, so I asked why Web3 at the beginning was great for gamers.
Yeah.
Why is Web3 great for game creators?
Great. So right now, the way that game creation works. Okay, so you're a small studio.
Hmm.
Okay, you create a game, and then you want to get people to play that game. Now you essentially have two ways of doing this. You have your sort of super vanilla version where you make a game and you sell a game. Okay, you might sell a subscription model. Let's say it's a like an MMORPG or something like that. Okay, but you have to make the game first and then
Hmm.
you sell the game. The other way is that you have a game that's more like a free to play. Okay. Anyone can jump in. You get, your two free, tanks or whatever, and you can play around with them, but you're never really going to go anywhere unless put money in to get things that don't actually exist.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, that neither one of those presents amazing revenue potential for a game developer. Okay, you might get a hit, you might not.
Hmm.
Okay, but if you don't, then it's basically craft macaroni and cheese and top ramen,
Yeah.
forever.
Hmm.
What Web3 gaming enables game developers to do is to create new ways to monetize and to build new economies that people want to participate in. This can create long-term evergreen revenue. This can be something that is extremely beneficial for a studio and can give them a better degree of financial stability over the long term than just putting it in a centralized platform.
Hmm.
So that's what it comes down to. Plus, the other thing that's really neat about this is that when you're working sort of for a traditional game developer, you're kind of making the thing that you think people want to play, and then
Hmm.
you build it, and then you release it, and hopefully people like it, right? But in the Web3 world, what we find is that you build part of it, you release an alpha, like we did with Spider Tanks,
Yeah.
right? You take feedback, you let people play, let people comment, then you make changes and you
Hmm.
release it again.
Hmm.
And each time you do this, you're releasing it to successively larger audiences of people who actually care about that game.
Hmm.
And they get to feel a sense of ownership because they get to help create it. You get a better game overall, and you have an audience that already instantly wants to play whatever you've created.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And I think once we have the first big Web3 hit,
It's
like
coming, man.
let's say for example that Mirandus just is like way better than anyone thinks
I
it
certainly
is
hope so.
possible. I hope so as well. And you guys are just like printing money off of a small tax on every transaction that happens within the economy. Like if that happened, everyone is just going to start jumping. It's going to be like the
Well,
League of Legends effect with free to play, where all of a
yeah, yeah,
sudden
of
League of
course.
Legends started printing billions, and then everyone's like, "Oh, free to play games are where it's at." Like that's going to
Right.
happen with Web3 gaming.
It will. Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you think about it too, I mean, it's like working with blockchain and smart contracts, you have the ability to do so many different things to incentivize so many people in so many different ways.
Hmm.
It just gives you so much more freedom.
Yeah,
And that's what we're all about.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about play to earn a little bit because play to
Yeah.
earn has definitely It's in the mud right now, to
It's
put it
taking a
to
little
put
bit of
it
a beating,
lightly.
just a smidge.
And I think that is mostly because the kind of like most viral game in this last bull market was Axie Infinity, and Axie Infinity had some core issues with its
Yeah,
economy, where the play to earn was entirely reliant on new players coming into the game and buying things from current players. So as soon as the
buying
growth
things from
stopped,
yeah,
the earnings stopped. So
exactly.
how do we make a play to earn economy sustainable?
Okay, well, there's two major pieces. The first thing is you have to have a game that's fun.
Hmm. That is
Okay,
number one for sure.
that is absolutely number one. Now, I will not in any way, shape, or form besmirch Axie or what they've accomplished. They did
I don't
amazing
think
things
they're
for
dead.
amazing people. I don't think they're dead either. Okay, and I like what they've done.
Hmm.
I like who they are. Generally speaking, I've talked
Hmm.
to Jiho a few
Yeah,
times.
I
Seems
really
like
like
this
Geo.
totally cool guy. You know, don't have any problems with them, but their economy, and this is to be completely fair, we've made a similar mistake in the initial phases of Town,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
with Townstar. Their economy was built in such a way that it was not ready for the scale that it received.
Hmm.
Okay, because essentially the core loop was to buy stuff,
Hmm.
to get more stuff, to buy more stuff, to get more stuff. And every time this circle went, you had a problem where inflation would increase.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you have that and you throw 500,000, a million users at it,
Hmm.
you've got a real problem. Okay. Because you're just not ready for that scale.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that that's kind of what happened, where they had something that was super cool. It
Hmm.
was it was at least the dominant Web3 game at the time. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot of competition when they first came out, really. And so people played, and you can make a little bit of money, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden everybody played, and they had click farms in the Philippines where you'd see some guy sitting in his house with a sheet of plywood with 50 cell phones screwed to it,
Hmm. Hmm.
playing all of these different accounts at once and things like that. And that created problems with long-term sustainability.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, not criticism, just the way that things
Yeah,
went.
also, like, if they had more time to develop more of the use cases for SLP and
Yes,
stuff, like, it
would
would
have
have been
changed a
different.
lot.
Like when
It would have been very
when you
different.
could burn SLP to upgrade your axes and improve your land, and all of a sudden there's a massive sink for SLP that just
Yep.
didn't
Yep.
exist before the economy blew up, and all
Yep.
of that
And,
would
and,
have helped so much.
a, a lot of that was based on the fact that COVID happened when it did, and who the hell could
Hmm.
have predicted that, right?
Yeah.
Like suddenly you had millions and millions and millions of people staying inside, starving
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
nothing to do and a cell phone.
Yeah.
That's what created that. Okay, but the first thing here is you have to have a game that's super super fun to play.
Hmm.
Okay, and the majority of people playing that game need to be playing that game because it's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a game that the only way you can get people to play it is by paying them,
Hmm.
you do not have a good game.
Hmm.
Okay, you have a job. Okay,
Yeah.
now maybe that's okay, maybe that's what you want, but let's be real about what we're talking about. And so you drink at Starbucks, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay.
Mostly I buy
Or
Tesla stock and Gala coin.
okay, Tesla stock and Gala.
And then I make my
You
coffee.
have purchased food in the past.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, what's your favorite like fast food place?
It depends. If I want a burger, probably In and Out. If I want chicken, then
Nice.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay, okay, fine. Let's go with In and Out.
Sure.
Double double. Are you a double
Yeah,
double
yeah. I
guy?
love the double doubles. Wonderful.
Okay, there we go. So you get a double double. I don't even have any idea what the hell a double double costs anymore. I haven't been to an In and Out in so long, but you get a double double, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that double double is going to cost you what, $5, $6?
Yeah, yeah, maybe. In and Out's actually like cheaper than most other fast food, but I'm sure the price has been
I'm just
increasing
go.
with
Well,
inflation.
I'm also thinking in Kanaki snow pesos. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong here. Okay, but you're let's call it $5.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Now, if you play a game and you play that game for, you know, a few hours just in between things, and you get $2 out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a significantly compelling reason for you to play that game? You
If you
personally.
love the game, if I love the
No, no,
game,
no, if you love the game, that's not why you're playing it.
yeah, but
You're
it
not
is kind
playing
of
it
like
to
a
get
cool
those
bonus. Like
$2.
if I loved the game,
Granted,
plus I got a free Coke with my meal because I played it, like that would be
that's
pretty
that's
cool.
gravy, man. That's
Yeah.
gravy. That's
Mm-hmm.
super cool. But the thing is you're playing the game not because you need to eat. You're
Yeah.
playing the game because it's fun. You're
Yeah,
going to eat
exactly.
anyway,
It wouldn't
and
be
you get a
worth
Coke.
it to neglect creating a YouTube video in order to play that
There
game.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, so that's the developed world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you have money to put into a game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to play a game and you're like, this is a super cool thing. So you'll yeet $20 into it. No
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Or 100,000.
Or 100,000, you know?
uh,
And so for you, that's something that you can do. Okay. And this is the core of the foundation of a sustainable play and earn economy.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Where you have people who play a game because it's fun and they put something into that game because it makes the game more fun for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, on the flip side of that, there are the people who need to take out from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for you, you might take out to buy a Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But honestly, like real talk here, unless there's a super easy way for you to do that, unless you could like pull out your phone and it automatically converts and pays for that Coke,
Mm-hmm.
like you're at least going to wait a while to do it. You're not going to do it for a Coke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're in the developing world and that $2 can feed your family,
Mm-hmm.
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like that goes from being, hey, free Coke to, hey, baby goes to sleep with a full belly. And that's huge.
Yeah, that's really
And
big.
so balancing these two forces is really critical.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts by having a fun game that people are willing to play, and they play it because it's fun, and then they also spend in it because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Enabling other people on the other side to take something out when they really need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it sustainable. There isn't a game that's an infinite money printer forever for every single person. That flames out. It dies instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need is you need to balance those faucets and sinks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we have a full economics team that does exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think it's important. I think like a lot of people don't realize, like even if you had a game with a completely balanced economy, only 50% of the people can be taking a profit out, and 50% have to be putting something in for those people to be taking it out.
Oh, you're using math.
And
you're
then
using, yes,
and then
you're
say
right.
there's a 5% tax on the economy from the game developer, which is their right. Well, that means that now only 45% can be taking out a profit, while 50% are putting something in. Because 5% is getting taken out to fund the game's development and more expansions and all the developers and all of that.
Now, would you like to hear a crazy statistic about free-to-play gaming?
I love crazy statistics.
Okay. So in the free-to-play gaming space, and this is like Clash, all of these sort of like normal mobile free-to-play games that you might play, right?
Mm-hmm.
97% of people who play that game don't put anything in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 3% of all users make any actual fiat purchase in game.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Only 3%. 80% of the revenue comes from 0.1%.
Wow.
Okay. So they're in the free-to-play space, you have people, a very, very few people, putting massive amounts of money into games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eric talks about how at Zynga, when with people playing like Mafia Wars and things like that, they had special people whose job it was to facilitate transactions for people who would wire in $1 million to get stuff in game.
Wow.
For a free-to-play game.
That's mind-boggling.
Okay,
for a free-to-play game
insane,
where there's
right?
it's all for status, right? It's just all for enjoyment.
And so those people exist, but the thing is in that context, those people putting that energy into that ecosystem doesn't really benefit anyone.
Hmm.
And so this is the foundation of why we do what we do, because we know that people are going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, people will absolutely do things for status related purposes in a game.
Hmm.
And so if we create an ecosystem that takes what they're doing, what they're willing to do and what they're going to do anyway, like I'd way rather have them put money into a game and have 5,000 other people be able to take a little bit of something out and eat
Hmm. Hmm.
than have that just go to some stupid free to play game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
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 how I look
awesome,
at it.
and you're right. Like some really big spenders could allow a much bigger population of the game's players to actually earn something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example. That's crazy, a crazy statistic as well. Okay, so someone on Twitter asks you,
Yeah.
Jason, how do we make fun games with play to earn versus pay to win? And are play to earn games like inherently pay to win, or can we make how do we make this fun for everyone?
So the way that I would look at that is I would say that at some level, okay, and this is probably going to piss some people off.
That's fine.
At some level, everything is pay to win. Everything is pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even when it comes down to, you know, pick a normal sport. Okay.
Soccer or football.
Soccer,
That's
right?
popular
Soccer,
everywhere.
football,
Yeah.
popular everywhere, right? Um, the people who win at that
Mm-hmm.
on an international level, there is millions upon millions of dollars being spent on those people that enable them to compete that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't take some kid from the some disadvantaged area and put Walmart shoes on them,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and put them in the middle of the World Cup and have them perform very well. They
Mm-hmm.
may be a fantastic player, but
Yeah.
they don't have the equipment, they don't have the training schedule, they don't have the personal trainers and the dietitians and all of that that
Mm-hmm.
enable them to win.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything at some level is pay to win.
Yeah, even
Now,
thinking about League of Legends, which you can only buy skins, but like when I was playing semi-professionally, I was paying for coaching, like I was paying for 1 gigabyte internet, like
yeah,
I had
exactly,
the right
exactly.
monitor and computer setup, and
Yeah,
it
you
is
know,
pay to win in
you're
some
you're you're
ways.
paying you're paying playing League of Legends, okay, and you're not doing it on a 15-inch crappy CRT,
Hmm.
with a Microsoft mouse from
Yeah,
1992.
and 200 ping.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You've got that. You have to get that dialed in, and
Yeah.
that's always going to be part of it.
Hmm.
Now that said, what we always strive to do is to find a way to bring balance to a game.
Hmm.
Okay, and full disclosure, games often have to be rebalanced.
Hmm.
Okay, there is no such thing as getting the game perfect the first time you do something, and so there will
Totally.
always have to be
Yeah.
tuning.
Or an
um
economy perfect the first iteration either.
Precisely, you always have to. I mean, for the love of God, how many people are working on the United States economy right now, and look how that
Yeah,
is.
true.
How many PhD economists do you think work for the federal government right now? Like, just think about that.
Thousands?
Thousands, I am sure.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be tuning, but the thing is what you want to do is you want to create an opportunity for the people who want to pay to win to compete against other people who want to pay to win.
Hmm.
Okay, if you're coming in, if you're playing spider tanks and you've got like a level 30 god tier tank, okay, with all of the bells and whistles, okay, you should not be ultimately at the end of the day going up against beginners that you can one shot.
Hmm.
You should be going up against a few other people who also have god tier stuff.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what we wanted to have happen in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, one thing that I always bring up, and I bring it up over and over again, is that like pay to win for EA is very different than pay to win in an open blockchain economy where someone's pay to win is someone else's play to earn because
Exactly.
someone's putting in
Exactly.
the hours and they're getting rewarded for it. So it's not just some executive that's just like continuing to increase their own salary or something and all the
Right.
money's getting siphoned out. It's like literally someone paying to win is what is making someone else be able to put food on the table potentially.
Yes. Exactly.
So, yeah, that's I think we need to change our perception about pay to win a little bit in Web3 gaming. Now there are still going to be bad ways to do it and better ways to do it. Um, okay, this is a fun question from Twitter. Something I'm personally excited about. Developers don't seem to be as excited about this.
Hit me.
But when do you think there's going to be a ton of cross-compatible assets between different games, where obviously each asset is balanced by that game developer into their
Right.
own game,
Right.
but where you can take an NFT and like go into your 5 favorite games with it?
Right. And you're right. Developers are much less excited about this. And I love hearing people in the community. They're like, oh yes, you buy this thing and you can use it in all the games, and they forget that that means that all of the rest of those games have to also do the additional lift to add it.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer to this would be, you will see that when incentives are aligned,
Hmm.
and it makes sense for people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, and we haven't done this because there's significant art lift to it. Okay, but if we decided to say, okay, let's put CryptoKitties in Townstar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, make it so that everybody who has a CryptoKitty in their wallet can automatically see it in Townstar, and it'll walk around and be cute.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if we were to do that, we would obviously have to do tons and tons of lift in terms of like getting all the traits and having it render correctly in game and all of that. A lot of work, but it would be a great user acquisition play where we make it so that people who, have never had the opportunity to join the Gala ecosystem can do so and bring their CryptoKitty.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But for us right now, the lift, specifically the art lift, the engineering lift there is not huge, but the art lift is massive.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it far too expensive to consider.
Hmm.
And essentially at that point in time, if we're putting in tons and tons of resources, we would want to make sure that there's a reason for us to do that. We are a business, right?
Yeah. What if you created like more of a generic CryptoKitty so that you you didn't have to create like a unique one for each different CryptoKitty, but it's like if you
Right.
bring one in, then it's like we've created this one CryptoKitty that will spawn, and then like if you do find hundreds of thousands of people are joining Gala just to see their CryptoKitty run
Right.
around in Townstar, and there's a lot of demand for I want to see my individual kitty, then at that
Right.
point you could add more customization or uniqueness. And that would make it like kind of an easier onboard,
Right.
with like less
I,
cost.
I definitely like that idea. I would almost want to push it in a slightly different direction, because the problem is if you make it actually look like a cat,
Mhm.
then, and it doesn't matter how many times you write articles and you make posts saying this cat's not going to look like your actual CryptoKitty,
Uh-huh.
there's going to be approximately 42% of the population that never read anything, try it, and then look at it, go, this doesn't look anything like my cat, this sucks. And then
Yeah,
they go submit an angry,
that's
customer
fair.
service ticket about it.
Yeah,
So I would
this
do
is why
like,
we can't have nice things.
this is why we can't have nice things. Exactly. I might do like a cat dish or a saucer of milk that has some additional functionality. So you get it for having a CryptoKitty, but it's not actually CryptoKitty,
Yeah, yeah.
related. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think something like that could be cool too. And I think like that's gonna be such a cool thing that your NFT does not need to show itself in the same way in every single world that
Right.
it's a part of, which is it's gonna be kind of cool. And
I
for
like it.
those who own NFTs too, like it's gonna be so sweet when it can transform and be so many different things in different worlds.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure you're not too time pressed. Are we good to go like another 12 minutes?
Yeah, of course, man.
Okay,
Absolutely.
sweet. This next question is one that I've been wrestling with a lot,
Okay.
and it's about botting in play to earn games.
Yeah.
Just because my presupposition here is that the incentives for botting are going to be so much greater in Web3 gaming than they are in traditional games,
Sure.
especially when there's any type of yield possible for any type of action in the game.
Right.
And my other presupposition is that AI is getting much cheaper every year, and this is just a fact. Like there is a like compounding reduced cost type effect,
Of course. Of course.
and we've already seen bots get better than professional players in chess, in Go, in even
So
StarCraft 2, which is a super complex competitive game. So do you think like we're gonna need KYC or something in play to earn games to make
I
the
would
economy sustainable?
I would hate to have there be a requirement for KYC. The way that I would look at this, and this again may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm just going to run with it. What if there was a way to make the existence of a bot enhance the user's experience?
Okay,
Okay,
explain.
because the reality is that we know people are going to bot.
Hmm.
It's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? Um, let's take a slightly different example here. Okay, MP3 music. Okay, you remember back in the day? I feel like you're maybe too young for Napster,
Yeah, I'm a
but
little too young for Napster.
you know what it is, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I won't ever ask you if you have committed such a crime by pirating a piece of music, but I'm sure you know of people that have.
Yeah, well, since YouTube, it's just like I have YouTube Prime, so I can download songs off of
You
YouTube. I don't even
There you
need to
go.
use Spotify. It's crazy.
But even before that,
Hmm.
okay, you have this concept of like, okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to go download a song.
Yeah, I've
Okay, and you have to
downloaded a
go to
lot of
this.
illegal movies. Okay.
No, you haven't. I don't know what you're talking about. I heard nothing. You go to this sketchy ass website.
Yeah.
You open a bunch of ports on your computer.
Hmm.
Okay, you connect there and then download this thing and hope that your shit doesn't blow up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Right?
hopefully my antivirus is good enough for this one.
Exactly. Now, that is a profoundly suboptimal experience.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what did Apple do? Apple created iTunes, right?
Hmm.
And with iTunes, what could you do? You could spend 99 cents and download a song.
Yeah.
And you knew it was clean, you knew it was going to be high quality,
Hmm.
you wasn't going to be like randomly mislabeled. You wouldn't have to, this is assuming you're a crazy OCD person, have to go through and rename all the files
Yeah.
because somebody used the wrong naming convention, that bastard. Right, like you knew everything. 99 cents, one click, boom, you have a song.
Yeah.
Okay, that, and I have never seen the data on this, but I'd very much like to. I would like to know how much piracy decreased with the release of Apple Music,
Hmm.
iTunes back in the day.
Yeah.
I bet it was a pretty significant drop because suddenly the thing that was negative got turned into a positive
Hmm.
and got turned into a revenue stream for the company and the musician.
Hmm.
Okay. So what if we look at bots? Okay. Now we know that people are going to download music just like we know people are going to run bots,
Hmm.
right? So what if we find a way to make that something that actually enhances the play experience?
Hmm.
Okay. So here's a little bit of alpha for you that I have. This is hashtag not completely confirmed, but the direction that's being looked at.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that we're looking at doing for spider tank nodes,
Hmm.
okay, which are going to be a thing here, is making it so that you can take your spider tank node and you can use that spider tank node to run a bot
Okay.
that is your tank,
Hmm.
your gun has AI that is created by the company,
Hmm.
that is tuned, okay, that you can maybe upgrade. Like you can have You could potentially have different levers that you can pull, for example, like, making your bot somewhat more aggressive or somewhat more defensive, pairing that with different types of weapons, different, body styles, all of these things, and then making that something that it exists to fill gaps in the game, to make it so that everybody matches more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you don't want it to necessarily be, something that is going to damage the playing experience. Obviously, the AIs need to be worked on there.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, it should be something that only shows up when there's no one else to take that spot, and enhances the play experience in general, but does so in a way that it's so much easier just to run it on your own than to try to run it on your node, than to try to figure out exactly how to do it, completely disconnected from all of that. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's a little bit of something that's being thought of right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I always like to think about all of these things in terms of Mirandus because
Sure.
it's the game I'm most excited for in the Web3 space still, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
great games out there that I am excited for. Um, so I guess I can see like if someone's running a bot in Miranda, say for some reason like these shrooms are these mushrooms are really valuable in the world, and
Sure.
like going and picking them, it's like really dangerous because it's in some cave where there's like an
Sure.
enemy that kills most of the people that try to go in there. So it's like this really rare resource that's used to craft some valuable thing,
Hmm.
and someone creates an AI that it just gets really good. It like trains on that route and eventually just gets really good at always being able to take out the enemy, always be able to get those mushrooms, and then all of a sudden the market just starts getting flooded with these mushrooms. Now,
Right.
as a large cemetery owner, for example, I have a large cemetery. That would really suck for me that there's just less people going out to try and get this really valuable shroom, but dying because now you have an AI that can just go and because it's trained and it knows how to do this, it just can
Right.
successfully farm these shrooms every single time without dying. And all of a sudden, my large cemetery just isn't having as many people go through. And it sucks for the people that really loved the challenge of
Right.
trying to gather those shrooms. And even though they did die a lot and had to pay to revive at my cemetery often, the few times that they
They had
did
fun with it. Yeah.
successfully get those shrooms, well, yeah,
Big
first of all, they're
rush.
having fun. But then when they do successfully get those shrooms, because there's not a bot running it, it's worth a lot in the market because they're very rare.
Right.
So it
Right.
pays for all those times that they failed. So like I feel like a lot of those sorts of experiences are going to get robbed by bots.
I think that to a certain extent, you could potentially be right, um, in some ways, but also I don't know that there's necessarily anything like at that level. If it's something that is being hosted on your player computer
Mm-hmm.
and is simply taking control of that,
Mm-hmm.
there's very little that can really be done to effectively stop that, because it can't tell the input
Yeah.
from that of a real player.
And that's why I feel like, I mean, I know that people in crypto bring out the pitchforks whenever you mention
Yes.
any type of KYC. Um,
Yes.
but I don't know. For
I
some
don't I
games,
don't
I feel like
necessarily.
it might be worth it because
It
like
may be
even if
beneficial.
like sure someone can run a bot on their one computer, but then at least if they want to run another bot, it's like
Right.
they have to get their brother's ID and they're gonna have to get him to set up another account and verify that he's human. And
Yep.
like then you're at least limited by actual humans that exist,
Yeah. No.
and it would reduce the exploitation like because like
We
if
are.
Ethereum is really valuable, someone's going to be able to afford like running a server and a million bots on AWS or something because the incentives are there and Ethereum's
Right.
worth enough.
Right. No, you're not wrong, and part of that is there's always this kind of cold war between those who seek to exploit and those who have to engineer around those exploits,
Yeah.
and there will always be that.
Hmm.
There will always be slimy bastards trying to exploit the system.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about it. But yeah, I do agree. But part of that though is if there's an easier option for them
Hmm.
that actually enhances gameplay and fits into the game design,
Yeah.
and it's more worth it for them to do that than to bother wasting time to do it the more difficult way. You want to go with the one that provides that enhancement essentially.
Yeah, giving a better, easier way, I think, is a good possible solution.
Yeah,
Let's end with a more positive
hit me,
question
man.
here. When is Web3 gaming going to go mainstream, in your opinion? When?
Soon.
Soon.
I think Web3 gaming is going to go mainstream very soon. I think that we're really close to working it out so that it's much easier for people to get involved, reducing those barriers of entry, making it so that people can jump in very, very easily. I think that that's within the next year.
Okay, that's sweet. I cannot. I want to just say thank you, by the way, Jason.
My pleasure, man.
For everything that Gala is doing, like bringing all of these game developers into the Web3 space, getting them to release their games on the blockchain. It's just like win, win, win. It makes me so excited. Galaverse was incredible, hearing all the new game announcements and stuff. And I love that Gala exists as a company and is pushing this space forward.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know there's much love here from me.
I will pass that on to the rest of the team, and we've quite a few fans of your program within our ranks. So
that's great.
Yeah. I often see you pop up in our Slack when somebody's like, "Hey, look at this."
Yeah.
So it's good.
That's awesome. We're trying to improve our content always. It's been rough out there with like crypto gaming, the search. If you like go on Google Trends, it like peaked at 100 in like January or something. And now it's like literally all the way down relative. It's at like 2. And it's
let's do this. Well, and I think that the reason for that is people don't realize that it can and should be fun. So how about this? How about one of these days you hop on with me and maybe a couple other people from the company, and we actually go play spider tanks together.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be super fun.
We can just have fun with it, shoot the shit. Maybe make it a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Have a couple beers or something like that, and just make it a live stream and push it out everywhere and let people see what it's all about.
Yeah, no, that would be a great time. In the next like month, if you shoot me a Saturday, I'll make it work, and we'll make that happen. And then for everyone watching, by the way, if you do not have a Gala Games account yet, make sure that you sign up for Gala Games using my link in the description. It is completely free, and you can go try out Spider Tanks. You can try out Town Star. But I do recommend, even though it's free to set up, I really recommend getting Gala Gold. You get so many awesome drops from Gala Gold. I just beat my 12 levels of Town Crush for June Mayhem. So you get a lot of opportunities if you have gold. I literally had my little sister, who does not play any video games at all. I had her buy Gala Gold just so that she could be getting all the free NFT drops.
Nice.
So yeah, I think it's an incredible value. So I would recommend you guys who are watching do that. I don't know, any final words before I tell people to thumbs up and subscribe?
I just want to invite everyone to come to our Discord at galagames.chat. Right now, we're in the middle of a pretty big company, I guess you'd call it sort of a reorganization, where we're focusing our priorities on delivering a little bit more. Just for context, we've grown from like 18 people to over 400 people in the space of a year, which is like insane.
Yeah.
And so now we're in the process of saying, okay, now we have all these awesome people. Let's make sure that they're working in the most effective way possible. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing is leaning in much more heavily into community. So I will be in Discord a lot more coming up here in the near future.
Sweet.
So come say hi.
Awesome. And on-chain gaming more?
Yeah, obviously, of course.
Sweet.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think like this is the most excited I've ever been for a YouTube channel, and I've grown a couple YouTube channels. Jake's Top 10 almost has 1 million. I think though, because all of my focus has been on this channel and not Jake's Top 10, I think we might pass up that channel and hit 1 million first on this channel. At least that's my goal.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this bear market is rough, but it is for building, and we've been like reorganizing on our side as well, and like just really making sure that we're putting out the best content. and we've been like,
Got to be the best.
we've
It's
been
gotta be the best.
studying YouTube, like a ton of Mr. Beast podcasts and stuff, and we're getting our like the amount of time between each like scene change and stuff. We've been reducing it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun improving, even when the public conscience has kind of gone somewhere
It'll come
else.
back, man. It'll come back.
Yeah.
They're worried about all sorts of other things. Don't worry, it'll come back.
Awesome. Well, if you guys enjoyed this interview, remember to drop a big thumbs up, as that will help it out a ton in the YouTube algorithm, and we really appreciate it. And then if you're not subscribed yet, which is like a crazy, like 65% of the people who watch this content aren't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you do not miss any future videos. And until next time, everyone, have fun roaming the metaverse.